Is celebrating Black History Month. Finding a qualified attorney can be a challenge, especially for people of color looking for someone who shares their perspective. Kelly Lynn sits down with a Prince George's County attorney who found a way to connect the Black community to those legal professionals.
Today is Justice Connection's birthday.
A social media post to mark the 2-year anniversary of a service former civil rights attorney Keisha Brown felt compelled to launch.
Justice Connection is the first online Black attorney referral platform in the country.
From business or family law to estate planning and personal injury, Brown provides a resource she says is extremely difficult to find.
We needed to be able to have a network to purposefully connect us.
Black attorneys are in short supply. A national survey released by the American Bar Association last year shows only 5% of active lawyers in reporting states were Black, while 81% were white.
We ensure that that person is properly barred in the state that they say they are, as well as not having any current or pending grievances against them.
Attorneys then pay a monthly or yearly fee for being connected to customers. Those in need of a lawyer like Mark Lawrence pay nothing.
It's really about the idea of, when you talk about communities and representation, people that can have the same experiences or simulate or somehow have the empathy because they understand your conditions or your culture.
Since Keisha started her business in 2021, more than 1,100 people have reached out to Justice Connection for legal help.
Largo attorney Vernon Brownlee, who specializes in criminal and DUI defense, says having the referral and professional development support is invaluable.
Justice Connection has put me into contact with other legal professionals that I can rely on for legal questions, legal support, and also it helps me connect with potential clients.
A business that partners with 30 attorneys in the D.C. metro area and has now expanded to Florida, Georgia, New York, and Chicago. The ultimate goal, to go global.
The full vision is for it to be an online marketplace dedicated to the Black experience in the law.
For 7 News, I'm Kelly Lynn.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here with us. Welcome to Justice Connections Ask Me Anything live legal session. And this evening, we have such a treat. I'm so excited for tonight, right? We are talking about business law. And you saw the title of this evening is all about Can't Knock the Hustle. Okay? Can't knock the hustle. And if you saw some of our social media posts, you saw that we were talking about, being a business. It's all about things business. So we're going to get deep and dirty tonight. My name is Keisha Brown, and I'm the founder and CEO of Justice Connection. And Justice Connection, as you learned through that amazing news clip, we were so honored to be featured by ABC News, is all about connections. It is about connecting you to the right legal counsel, whether it's for your personal needs, your business needs, civil, criminal. Black attorneys do it all. And if you yourself are a Black attorney, this is the place to be, my friend. This is where you also get connected, right? To high quality clients, to new opportunities, to cutting technology, and really an environment, a community that is all about promoting, spotlighting, and uplifting Black attorneys. Right? We have everything we need in our community to advance and to support one another. And that's what we're about, 365. So let's get into this, right? Let us get into this tonight because we're talking about business law. And some of us do not have Fortune 500 companies. That is okay. You, my friend, are in the right place, right? And so if you are even in the ideation stage, come on. That's a real place to be with a business. That ideation stage of building, right? Of creating, of thinking about what your business can be, because you have a very unique vision for how to use your time and your talent to make money, right? To bring about impact and even change. And it is so important that you not waste that and that you build the right team to manifest that vision. And the person or people that you need to make that happen include the right attorney. right? The right attorney. But you don't have to take my word for it, because there's tons of things that you need an attorney for. We're going to get into many of those tonight, right? Whether it's contracts, negotiations, drafting, review, whether it's having to go to court. We think about attorneys oftentimes in terms of going to court, and that is definitely very much what we need attorneys for sometimes. But even just that back end stuff beforehand, that counselor, that person who can give you the advice to guide you so that you don't have to go to court, right? That you don't find yourself at risk of liability, that they mitigate, lessen, right, your risks, and that you're able to focus on the fundamentals of your business because you have someone else making sure that you can navigate the rocky legal terrain you will inevitably face as a business owner. But like I said, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to take my girl's word
Don't
for
be
it.
ashamed to ask questions, because sometimes I used to see contracts and I used to be like, oh my gosh, this is such a big opportunity. I'm not even going to ask the question because I don't know if this opportunity is going to come back again. And then next thing you know, you sign something and you stuck in some bullshit. Right. So don't be afraid to ask questions, and get lawyers. Get lawyers for everything. Right. Because that's something that I fuck up at, trusting these. Always get a lawyer. Sometimes it seems like lawyers are very expensive. When you opening a business, when you're trying to buy a business, when you're trying to open something online, get a lawyer. Right. Get a lawyer all the time. Even though you think it's expensive, it's the most necessary shit. You always want to review those words that you don't understand because
it's too late.
Right.
Trust. Been there.
Right.
All right, you don't got to take my word for it. Take my girl Cardi B's word for it, okay? And so without further ado, I want to bring up two bad brothers who are just brilliant brothers who are amazing attorneys who focus on business law, right? And first I'll bring up, should I do it alphabetical? I'll do alphabetical. So I'm going to bring Carrie Davidson. Right, Carrie is a graduate of Stanford University, of the University of Pennsylvania for his master's, and then Harvard Law School. Carrie, I want you to share. Well, wait. I'm not even gonna let you share. I'm gonna bring Sean up, and we're just gonna do this together. We're gonna do this. We're gonna rock. Sean, my friend, hello. How are you?
Hello.
Yes, Sean is a graduate of the University of Maryland Global Campus. And if you're from the DMV, he stuck around and gave love to the DMV. And he's also a graduate of American University, Washington College of Law. So sometimes, folks are like, oh, should I? I don't know. These brothers are credentialed, okay? Credentialed. That's the short end, just to give you their educational background. But I want you'll hear the experience and the expertise tonight, right? So Sean and Carrie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Keisha.
Thank you. So let's just jump right on in, right? And I told y'all we were going to get rocking, and that we have folks joining us from all over the country. I'll tell you that because I had plenty of people who emailed me saying, what's the time zone? And I was like, oh, wait, everybody's not on Eastern Standard Time Zone all the time, right? I apologize. I appreciate all my people all over the country who checked me and was like, yo, I need to tune in and I need to know for my time zone, like what the time is. So we had several requests. So thank you everybody around the country who's joining us tonight. And I invite everyone, if you've got questions, if you've got things that, have been sort of buzzing in your ear around business, now is the time to ask it. We may not get to all of your questions, but I will tell you there is no dumb question. There is no question so simple. There's nothing you should know unless you're an attorney and you've been practicing for odd years like these two men on the panel today. You are not, I'm an attorney and I don't know half the stuff they're about to tell us. Okay, I'm gonna be taking notes too, trying to learn, because this is what they do. Right. And so it behooves us to connect with people who know what they're talking about so that we can then take that information and leverage that on behalf of our business. So I'm going to stop talking. And I'd love for each of you to be able to share, one or two things that you wish business owners knew as like just fundamentals, right? As coming from this legal perspective, what are some things that you wish every business owner knew? Sean, I'll let you kick it off.
Okay, yeah. Again, thanks, Keisha. You said a word that in your introduction that was key, and Cardi B said something that I keyed in on. But you said a team, and a team is critical. And I wish every business owner understood how important having a team is. I like to say that I'm only one leg of the stool, right? And when you're a business owner, when you're an entrepreneur, your questions are more sophisticated than what you think. You should have your CPA on your team. Your financial advisor should be part of your team. Your banker should be part of your team. If you're in the real estate, your real estate agent should be part of your team. And often don't be afraid to say, hey, I need all of y'all on the phone while I make this decision, because it's often a multi-pronged decision. So I wished that's one of the things that I wish more business owners would know about.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. Very spot on. Carrie, what are your thoughts?
Well, just to piggyback on what he said, I think he's absolutely right. And, a lot of those people need to be able to work together sort of offline. So not only, there may be a meeting where you're not there and people on your team are just dealing with some issues that need to be resolved and working together to resolve them with those different areas of expertise. So totally agree with what Sean said. And then the other thing is, like what Cardi B said, these agreements are some of these agreements are extraordinarily dangerous for you to sign, and you can be locked into some of these agreements for decades. And the music artist is one of the best examples of that historically, where they get locked into these deals where they have to make 60 songs and they're getting pennies on the dollar, and that's it. You just sign your career away because you didn't have anybody look at this documentation. And don't even let me talk about Lamar Jackson. I'm going to let that go to the side. But the Ravens quarterback. But there's some really dangerous agreements out there. I've seen some people sign commercial leases or have commercial leases put in front of them. Young person starting a business. Those are some of the most dangerous agreements for some new tenant that I've ever seen. And one in particular, if this guy were to miss his first lease payment, they would shut down the business, kick him out of the business, kick all of his employees out of the property. They'd lock the doors. They'd confiscate all of his property. Then he would be due for future rent without a business for the next 10 years. So by missing a payment in a week, he could be on the hook for $1 million, have no business, have no employees, and have no property. So these are the kind of agreements that will get put in front of you. And if you don't have somebody to review them, it's a bad situation.
Yeah. And that's really real. Sometimes, even hearing it, it's very like stark, right? But you've seen these types of contracts, these documents that folks are given. And, I just had a young man contact me, and I've been really trying to stress to him, he's a recording artist. And I said, you've got to speak to an attorney. He said, yeah, I'm starting to get these contracts. And he texted me the other day, me and my manager are trying to figure out the language of these contracts. Can you help me? I said, no, I cannot. That's not what I do. You need an attorney who does that to help you, right? How big of a risk is it, right, for us to, you talked about with that particular situation as far as being on the hook for 10 years, what kind of risks are we leaving ourselves open to when we go forward with things without really understanding what we're getting into?
Yeah, I'll add to what Carrie said. The commercial leases are a good prime example, but what's at risk often is you losing everything, possibly, if things go bad, because oftentimes in business deals, in commercial leases, in various different, if you've gotten bank financing to do what you're trying to do, they often ask you to personally guarantee what you're doing to be behind it personally. So the risk is extremely high, and people often very easily get into very high risk agreements just on their own.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, the reality is we happy to just be here, right? We're excited to get the opportunity, and it makes us anxious, right? And excited, and we take those steps. What are some tips that you have for a business owner who is faced with a big decision, right? Whether it's a contract, whether it's a lease, whether it's even forming a new partner or a founder, what would be some tips that you have for a young person or a seasoned person but is new into business? What would be some tips that you have for them? Carrie, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I would say like never do a deal without an attorney where you're not willing to give the money away. So if it's, $100 deal or a $500 deal or $5,000 deal, and you don't care what happens to the money, go ahead, do the deal, do it with your relative, do it with your friend. But if the money matters to you or the outcome matters to you, what you're paying for with that money, for example, think about, how insurance works. Like you might have 10% of your house in case it burns down in a fire. Over the years, you may pay 10% of the value of that house. And if it does burn down, you get the other 90% back when that fire happens. Think of using a lawyer as sort of an insurance policy where you might want to take out 10% of the amount you're putting at risk and budget it to someone who can tell you what that risk is and tell you how to manage that risk and even avoid that risk, and even provide you with opportunities that can help you do things that you never thought of to increase the windfall from the deal that you're doing. I would think of it that way. For 10%, that's not bad.
Wow. Good point.
Yeah, and so for some of our larger and more sophisticated transactions, those people tend to get assistance. But it's our small and middle size businesses and deals that they tend to try to go it alone. I just had a client that has a chain of Smoothie Kings, and they were doing an acquisition deal. They were being acquired, and they were going it alone. And they came to me toward the end of the transaction when they were getting the terrible structure. They were in a terrible structure, a terrible deal.
Wow.
And the way that they were looking at the transaction was completely off. And I had to completely renegotiate the transaction, get twice the amount of money for it. And so I would say just, yes, educate yourself, right? Be smart. And oftentimes with business, when we represent business clients, these are smart people. These are courageous people. These are brave people. These are type A personalities. These are go-getters. So we can have a sense of, I can figure this out, right? I can do this. I'm smart. I can do this on my own. But that's often a mistake. So educate yourself. But as Carrie said, get the representation that you need. And oftentimes when you come to us, and Carrie does a lot more litigation than I do, but it's you've been wronged, say, for $10,000. But if it's going to take you $20,000 to go after that $10,000, you're in a situation. And a lot of times I see that with a lot of clients that come to me later because they're doing a small or mid-sized deal. And the issues can be just as costly to try to get out of. And you're leaving a lot of money on the table. You're putting good money after bad. So some of these can be some of the challenges.
You're right. I want to break that thing down that you just said, right? Because oftentimes we are trying to save money on the front end, and it ends up costing us twice as much on the back end, right?
Yeah.
So in an effort to save money, in an effort to not have to do those hard choices, right, and make those upfront investments, we often leave ourselves open, and we think we know. And there was a comment made, Irika, you're Ms. Fletcher, you're completely right, that a lot of laypersons who are highly educated think they can interpret contracts for themselves. Or better yet, we go to someone, right, that we know to be the smart person in our crew, the smart person in our family, to ask them to take a look. And if they are not a lawyer, people, I'm telling you, they're not a lawyer. Okay. I once had a friend tell me, oh, I'm not a lawyer, but I think like one. I said, no, you don't. Trust, believe. No, you don't. Right. There is very specific training, right, that lawyers go through, y'all, that both Sean and both Carrie have gone through, not only academically, but the countless years of experience in handling different business matters. So when you talk to Carrie or when you talk to Sean, you're not just getting their schooling, right? You're not just getting their 2 cents. You're getting their complete package that they are then taking and putting that against your unique circumstance, your unique situation, and giving you legal advice based off of that, right? And so one of the questions that we had in advance that someone wrote in was, what's the difference between an LLC, which we often see behind someone's name, their business name, and a partnership, right? If it's a small shop and we're starting out and a lot of people are incorporating and they're looking to get an attorney for that, what's the difference between a partnership and an LLC?
Well, I don't do as much formation work probably as Sean does, but generally what you want to look for when you set up these types of entities is the basic reason why is because you want to establish what's called a corporate veil. So like think of Count Dracula, right, with this big veil, or Superman with a big cape. And so Superman can take this cape and he can cover his body and he can say, no one can get in here under my cape, right? All assets under my cape are mine. You can't touch them, my personal assets. You can take my house, you can take my car, but you can't take my body, right? So the corporate veil is the same idea. If someone gets sued for something that a company does, that suit can't be brought to the individual if that individual's business interest is incorporated. So he can take his cape and he can protect his bank accounts, his personal assets, his house. But business assets may be subject to suit, subject to enforcement on a judgment. So, you get some protection, personal protection, by using that corporate veil. And that's why you would want to do an LLC or some type of an incorporation over simply doing just a partnership without and it's some type of an incorporation. And so when you have the letters behind your company name, that means you have that corporate veil in place. If you don't have the letters and you're just working as a partnership under a partnership agreement, you haven't registered with the state, you don't have the power of that superhero cape to keep your assets protected. And that's the reason why you would want to do anything besides just not registering with the state, kind of leaving your corporate veil wide open and letting everybody attack it based on whatever your company does.
Wow.
So I'll say that and let Sean continue with the rest of that answer.
Yeah. Okay. Just to expand on what Carrie said, and maybe to get a little more technical about it, because it is a question that people have, and usually people just default to LLC because that's what everybody does. But there are various different types of partnerships, right? There's general partnerships, there are limited partnerships, there are limited liability partnerships. So in a general partnership, the biggest issue is everybody has joint and several liability, meaning that if you and I are in a partnership together and you get sued, I get sued too. So we all go down together. Talking about the protection that Carrie was talking about. In a limited partnership, typically, well, I'll just say a lot of people don't, general partnerships, you don't even have to form. Two people get together and they're doing business, they're in a partnership. In a limited partnership, it is a registration involved, and there's usually a general partner and a limited partner that's involved. You often see these types of structures in, say, like real estate deals. someone who's going to be the general partner who's controlling the deal, or so on and so forth. And then there are limited partners, people who could be investors, maybe passively, maybe they're active in some other part, but they're limited partners. And why it's called a limited partnership, because they're limited to the level of investment that they put into the partnership. And even when you have limited partnerships, often the entities that are coming together to form the limited partnerships are LLCs or some other type of structure. So they may not even be individuals that come together to form those limited partnerships. And then you have limited liability partnerships, where you often see as your professionals, your law firms, your accounting firms, and so on and so forth, whereby that was structured to set up to avoid, if two lawyers are in a practice together, if Carrie and I have a law firm together, and one of us commits malpractice, the other is not responsible for and not obligated for the malpractice or the torts or whatever else that has happened within that entity. So of course, lawyers fought for that kind of structure. And LLCs are, the new baby of the bunch, coming along, and it became the sweet spot that a lot of people, and it depending on what you do, if you're small and starting out, often it is, an efficient structure, but it kind of takes the benefit of all of those structures: the limited liability protection, the pass-through taxation, the ease of formation, and so on and so forth. The being able to elect what type of taxation you're going to have. You're going to be taxed as a C Corp, an S Corp, or a partnership. So they created it to be extremely flexible. But what really drives what one you should have is, there are a number of questions when people come to me, like, how are you going to capitalize your business? Are you going to take it? Are you taking on investors? Are you going to be the only person running the business, or are you going to have partners in the business? All of these questions, although everybody does an LLC, all of these questions are relevant in what type of structure you're going to have, and what type of deal you're going to do, and what your ultimate goal is. So that's why they kind of exist. Again, getting back to why you should talk to somebody.
I mean, really, y'all. I mean, between both of your answers, which were very informative, we had a lot of folks like, wow, this is very informative. But just that was a 5-minute, drill answer about the difference between LLC and partnership. And you laid out a lot of information, right? That really, when we're setting up these businesses, that we intend, come on, y'all, we got to intend to be successful, to be profitable. And if that's the case, we want to make sure that we are set up in the best possible way to make the most, to do the most. And if we don't know which structure, that there are all these different structures to choose from, and there are very different consequences, if you will, and benefits to each of them, and we're just going based off of what Google told us, come on, y'all. Or we're going off of what, our best friend's cousin who started a business 4 years ago, and when they did it this way, so that's how we should do it. That's not good enough. And it certainly isn't good enough in 2023 for us to think that we can just go at this alone. And quite frankly, I know that we have gone at it alone because that's just what we've had to do. Sean and Carrie have just been able to share just a little bit around the difference between two very sort of starter kit options for businesses, right? Like when you grow, right, there are different ways that you might restructure. But in the beginning, it behooves us to know what are the differences between the different structures. Someone asked question around, oops, that was me who did that. Someone asked the question around, are there specific requirements to include the LLC in your business name? Some people put it in there, some people don't. I think that's really a stylistic thing, right? Like there's no legal requirement that if you are an LLC, you have to in all documentations, yes. But here we are, for example, Justice Connection, right? Justice Connection is an LLC, but I rarely will put LLC after Justice Connection because I'm using the brand name, which is Justice Connection by itself. I'll let them get into that. But the question around, does that then create personal liability if someone conducts the business under a name that does not include LLC in it, or is it a non-issue? Let me bring that up so that you guys can look at that. So the fact around people excluding LLC in the business name, and does that then create personal liability if you do conduct business under a name that doesn't include LLC? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, good. I mean, I get it, Josh. I want to make sure that, when they got you so that we can break this thing down. Do you have any thoughts or feedback to that?
Well, I would just say normally, it just comes down to what is laid out in your contractual agreements, what people expect, who people expect they're doing business with based on the contract that they're signing. Trade names are often used, doing business as names are often used. I think my check may say SunTrust Bank and not SunTrust Bank NA or whatever the abbreviations are behind that. So, it's as long as there's no deceit going on or there's no, manipulation, normally it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I agree with that. I will add, in the code, the code specifically does outline specifically in some states and jurisdictions how you are to name if you're forming an LLC. I mean, it gets as specific as saying you can either say LLC with no dots, L.L.C. or limited liability company spelled out, or limited LTD period. So they give you options on what you have. So I say it's the equivalent of what people call you and then what your mama named you.
Right.
So what's legal is what your mama named you. Is when you form, they are specific. And if you went with LLC without the dots and something later you went with LLC with the dots, sometimes it'll be rejected because it's not the same. So they can be explicit in the code about how you name yourself, but it's not that you, as Carrie was saying, it's not that you, just because you say Justice Connection, it's not you're exposing yourself to, you're not calling yourself something that you're not. You're not trying to commit fraud or deceit. You're not trying to deceive someone. So you're not opening yourself up to something which would open you up to personal liability.
Yeah.
So it is relevant. It is important, but not for the reasons probably that if you left those letters off, you're going to jail or something. No, it's not that serious.
Got you. Good to
I would say
know.
certainly for your formal contracts, it would be good to have your formal name in the contract. And if you had an alternate name, you could put that in there too.
Got you. Thank you for that. Thank you. So we have folks who are at awesome. Josh said very helpful. Thank you both. Right. So thank you very much. Keep asking your questions. We'll try to weave those in as much as possible. Right. So you both have had just really decades of experience around supporting businesses. What have you seen successful business owners do? Like, what have you seen, whether it's one person or just a trend? What have you seen successful business owners? What have you seen from them? What have they done?
Let Carrie go. Take that.
Well, I think it's that saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Clients that aren't afraid to get with an attorney early in the process where they think they may be having an issue or they may be having a concern that needs a lawyer to get involved with. And chances are, if you think that a lawyer may need to get involved, you're probably 5 steps beyond the pass where they did need to get involved. So, go ahead, spend some money, spend it for a few hours of somebody's time, let them review whatever documents are at issue. If there's emails going back and forth that are concerning, let him review the emails, get his input on how to prevent the problem from getting any worse than it is. Most people's instincts on when they get a lawyer, again, they're already too late. So, move quickly, be prepared to spend a little bit of money to save a whole lot of money down the road. And, most of the cases I get, I would say 95% of them could be completely different cases if somebody had come to me earlier. And that is not a low estimate. So, I mean, please, the earlier you get somebody involved, the better. That would be, one piece of advice.
Excellent.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Carrie said. Totally concur. And to take it even a step further is don't look at your lawyer as just your problem solver when you get in trouble. You should include them. You should include your professionals, your lawyer, along with you. I've had a number of clients that they want you as part of the board meetings. They want you as part of the meetings at the company. There's no issue, but they want you engaged in the company. They want you to know what's going on. And oftentimes when you do that, a lawyer can advise you right there on the spot before you even go down a path, before you draft up a contract, before you make a decision. It may be just something minor that you tweak that could be major in how you proceed. So including them as part of your team and running your business, I think, is key. And I would also say I've seen a number of successful businesses. It's tough when you're a startup or you're getting a small mid-size and you are so focused on starting your business and establishing your business and growing your business that you don't think about how you're going to scale your business per se, or how you're going to exit your business per se. If what your growth strategy is going to be, is it just going to be organic growth? Are you doing this as a lifestyle company where you just like the lifestyle that this company provides you, or are you looking to get into mergers and acquisitions and acquire companies or be a target to be acquired? Knowing this early on in the process, it can speak to how you're structured. It can speak to how you scale. It can speak to the types of business that you get in. It can speak to the partners that you bring on board, whether you have an advisory board, the type of lawyer that you have. It can speak to a lot if you know where you're going when you start.
Yeah, no, just so on point with that, right? Especially I want to shout out the startup founders who are tuned in today, right? Because oftentimes in the tech world, especially, talking amongst ourselves and everybody's talking about being a unicorn and getting there and building the perfect product. But if you don't have someone who you are having these early conversations, and not in your accelerator, I'm sorry, I've been in them too, not in your incubator, I've been in them too, your own personal guide, right, who has that legal acumen, because there's a very big difference from shooting this idea and plotting this out with someone who is in your field and means well. They're a co-founder. Maybe there's someone who has built a company and sold it. But unless they work for you, they are not necessarily going to be doing the deep dive that an attorney who you built an attorney-client relationship will do for you, right? And to get to that, Sean and Carrie, I want to touch on the paid legal consultation. We're gonna talk about this, y'all, okay? Because we don't talk about all the great things that they talk about and how they're very necessary, but this is not for free. This is not for free. And I'm telling you that the old saying, a new saying, a little cliche, it is very true. You cannot make money without spending money. Can't do it. Anybody who tells you they're doing it, they just barely making it, right? And they are one step away, God help them, from not making it. You gotta spend money to make money. And I would not tell you to go, there's a big difference, because people will call and be like, well, what do you think? What should I do? And the first thing an attorney will tell you, this is not legal advice. If you were talking to an attorney and at no point in the conversation, they don't say this is not legal advice, you better think twice, because they're not your attorney. Okay? You want to develop a relationship with an attorney, right? You hearing Carrie and Sean now and what they're saying, you're like taking notes, like these brothers know they stuff, right? But imagine if this is what we're getting in this brief hour, what they tell you when they really learn about you, when they learn about your vision when they learn about your business, when they learn about your goals, when they learn about your challenges, when they learn about your unique position in the market, right? All of the things that they then take into context. So I want to talk about paid legal consultations, right? Because oftentimes people think in order, okay, Keisha, this is great. I'm going to go, as soon as I get my 10 G's, I'm going to get me a lawyer, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, everybody out there, you do not need 10 G's to get you a lawyer, right? It's not free, but it's not 10 G's on day one, right? There are some cases that you need to pay up front and things of that nature. That's not what we're talking about right now. Right now, we're talking about the paid legal consultation. So I would love for both of you to share, when you meet with someone for a paid legal consultation, what that entails, right? What that could look like. And for those who don't know, a paid legal consultation is an opportunity to sit down, have a meeting with an attorney and talk. You now have them for an hour to talk about your business, to ask questions, right? And so it's an excellent opportunity. This is one that we're going to be doing a lot of work around with Justice Connection, because I want folks to take money as the barrier, and you better don't come to me looking for the cheapest thing out there, because if you are building widgets in China, then yes, look for the cheapest thing out there. But unless you're building, if you're not building widgets in China, then you're really building some stuff. And your stuff has value, and you want other people to pay you for that value. And so you yourself must pay for the right legal counsel to guide you to get the biggest bang, the biggest success that you are destined for. So Sean, I'd love for you to start off by just sharing, what can somebody expect when they sit down and have a paid legal consultation with you?
Yeah, I would say legal consultations can be extremely powerful and can be valuable. The ones that are the worst are when you call and you haven't prepared yourself, and you're getting on the phone and you're not necessarily sure what questions to ask. The lawyer's not sure what you want to talk about, and they may not be as fruitful. But if you have reached out to the attorney, you've decided, hey, I want to talk to you.
Wait. I'm gonna interrupt you. Not any attorney. I'm talking about you. Okay, because these people out here in the interwebs, they're looking like, this brother look good, he sound good. What is it like to sit down and meet with Sean Trice, right? And this ain't for everybody, ain't gonna be able to meet with Sean Trice. Mm-hmm. But I want you to know that Sean is an amazing attorney. And we're having for all of you out there, I want you, this is serious times, right? And you're building a serious business. And so Sean is a serious business attorney. So I would love for you to be able to share, like, when somebody comes to the Pristine office and they're going to meet with you, what does that look like for them?
Yeah, so I would say the best to get the best effect is, one, give me a heads up. Give me a heads up what your business is, where you want to talk, because the type of business that you're in matters, right? So I want to know what type of business it is. Give me your website, because I'm going to go and do my research anyway. I'm not going to be charging you for that. I'm going to be looking you up right before you even come in and talk to me. At least I do. I can't speak for every attorney, but at least I would. I want to know who's in front of me. So, and if you have prepared and you have questions, targeted questions, specific questions, you've done your research on trying to find, even if you were trying to find answers to the questions yourself, doing a little research yourself, and you say, is this true? What is this and what is that? You're going to get the most value. And a lot of times when you leave, if you leave with me and you came prepared in that manner, oftentimes you leave with a roadmap. You leave with a roadmap to say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is where you are. And sometimes I tell you some of these things you may be able to do on your own. I give you direction and I'll tell you, hey, just do this. You don't need to pay me to do that. Just do this, just do that. So you get a lot of bonus and you get a lot of free information. Well, not free, but you're getting information but you're getting guidance of things that you can do in an inexpensive way as well. Some things that I may say you can do on your own without a lot of risk. And I will tell you when to come to me. So you should leave me feeling like, okay, I know what I need to do now. I know what's going on. I know what gaps I have, and maybe how long it's going to take me and how much it may cost me to get it done.
Excellent. Oh my gosh, y'all. And where is, hold on, Sean. Hold on. I need to pull up your, because some folks right now said, this brother, yes, write down his email right now. Okay. Full name. Go ahead and why don't you just open up your Gmail now, or your Hotmail if you're a Gen Xer, or your AOL if you're a baby boomer. Open up your email, compose a message, and just type in the email. So that way you have it ready to go, because that's priceless, right? Being able to do that. And he told y'all, come prepared. Don't come to just be like, what should I do now, Sean? Right? It is an opportunity to really come with your list of questions, no questions too big or small, and really pick your brain, right? And most importantly, y'all, it's building that relationship. Because now that you've had this conversation, this consultation with Sean, when something does happen and you need follow-up, you now have a point of reference to contact someone, right? And have that second conversation and that third conversation, which quite frankly, I'm quite sure after your conversation with Sean, that you're already booking yourself, right, for that next one. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll add this, not to take
Please.
Carrie's time, but again, Carrie and I are dealing with smart people. Your business people are smart people. And oftentimes you can come to us with the answer. You already have decided what the answer is. And oftentimes you're just wanting a lawyer to validate, but you've already said the answer to us. That's not a good way to come. It's not a good way to come. You can be smart and you be open-minded, but be there to maybe be willing to hear something that you hadn't heard before.
Touche. And while you were speaking, we got tons of comments that were like, he is a great lawyer. Sean's wonderful. So your fans are out there. No, that's awesome. Carrie, I would love to hear your thoughts, right? About, or for you to share, what is it like to book that paid legal consultation with you? And how does that work? What does it look like?
So I have to do it first, contrast it with the free consultation that everybody wants, right? Because I think most people are of the mindset that I can get this attorney on the phone and I can ask him these questions and I'm not paying any money. He'll tell me what he knows. I've got the information and then I can go, do whatever I need to do. I'm gone. If I want to use them, great. But if I don't, I got all this free advice. And, he's lost an hour of his life, but so what, kind of thing. I think what people have to understand is that, we are the most precious thing we as lawyers have is time. So when you call us up and you ask us for that time, we want to solve your problem, but our ability to survive really depends on proper time management. Like we have to manage time more. We have to be more careful with our time than almost any other professional. And so the thing about a free consultation is it really disincentivizes the lawyer to tell you everything you need to know. It more gives him an incentive to try to sell his services so that his time won't be wasted, so that at the end of the interview, he'll be able to say, well, I think I've done what I can do to get a client, rather than I've given the best advice, the most thorough advice that I can give for this session. And so what you want to do as a client is you want to say, hey, wait a second. You don't have to sell yourself to me. I want to pick your brain. I want all of the answers. I want to know what I can do if I don't hire you. I want to know what I should do if I go hire the next guy, that's on my list to hire or think about. And I want to ask him, has he thought about what you told me today? You want to have as much information as you can regardless of whether you hire that attorney or not. And so the only way to get the incentives right for both you and for the attorney is to pay that attorney to dig deep, give you the best advice he can give you, get as strategic with you as he can. Like Sean says, if you've got something that doesn't need an attorney, that's great. I'm going to tell you how to do this without an attorney, because you've already paid me for my time. And I respect that. You're going to get, and the other thing that you're going to do, this also gets into Sean's point, you want to come into a consult with you really want to come in with a narrative, right? You want to email a narrative of exactly what you're looking for, what your concerns are, what you're trying to do. And you want to put all those supporting documents in there as well, because almost all of these deals rely on documents, right? It just doesn't happen in a vacuum. Most deals aren't completely verbal. The most important things are the docs, right? And so if there are any relevant documents, including critical emails, correspondence, you want to have that in the email to me so I can review it before the consultation. And then by the time we talk, all I'm doing is I already know your problem. I already know what you're trying to do. I've already read all the relevant documents, okay? I've already formulated in my head a strategy for how to help you. And so in the consult, we're diving in. It's a deep dive. I'm giving you information that you critically needed and that it's on the top of your head to ask for. I've already got it for you. I'm producing it. You say, what about this? What about that? I give you those permutations on it, but you're getting that strategy right away. And that way, if you can pay for, say, 30 minutes of time with me. And that's all you need.
No. I'm gonna say an hour, y'all. I'm gonna say an hour. I'm not gonna let Carrie do that.
Well,
it's an hour. It's an hour consultation.
Okay, but the point is that the consults can be very short because we don't have to reinvent the wheel in the discussion. In the discussion, I don't have to get into what you need or what you're looking for, what you're trying to do. I already know. I don't have to get into what your documents say that support what you're trying to do. I've already read them. So all you're getting is the answer in the consult. And and then your questions are based on that answer that I give you and your follow-up questions to the solutions and the strategies that I'm providing you with. Those are the best consultations, and they can't be done for free. They really can't. And if you do it the free way, you're just not getting the most out of either your time or the attorney's time. I do get people that call me and they want, obviously people want to talk about their problem. What I do on those calls, they last about 10 minutes. I tell them what documents I need from them. And I tell them where I want them to send me the narrative. And then I tell them I'll read that and I will give you a quote based on how many hours it'll take me to, read through your stuff, give you a good strategy, and just give them a quote for the time. And it's really not a lot of money because hopefully you're exercising that strategy where you've come early into the problem solving time frame and it's not too late. The poop hasn't hit the fan yet. Somebody's thinking about walking off the job, but they haven't walked off yet, or there's a contract that you're thinking about signing, but you haven't signed it yet. Or, you're in a stage where it's a critical time because things are happening. Maybe somebody's threatening you with a breach of a contract. Maybe you're a journalist and you're trying to write an article and you're writing some negative stuff about somebody with very deep pockets. And you're like, I don't want to be on the news getting sued for defamation. Let me talk to somebody now. Right. So those are the periods where you have that consult. Maybe you spend a few $100s, but you could save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's the way you do it.
Exactly. Wow. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I'd be doing a praise dance if I wasn't on the screen right now. Okay. I'd be doing a praise dance because I would feel like, yo, I got a plan. I'm gonna get me a paid legal consultation. If you are out there, because I know some of y'all who are out there, and this goes for speaking to one of the questions that came through. This is just exactly right for entertainment. professionals, right? There was a question around, and I'm looking for entertainment professionals who need contracts reviewed and are drafted a few times a year. This is perfect. The paid legal consultation is exactly what you need for that. And the thing is that once you do one, then you hooked. Because now you done tasted the fruits of legal information, legal knowledge that's going to make your business better. So my accountants out there, I'm looking at y'all, my accountants who are out there, yes, you too need a paid legal consultation to talk about the structure of your business, making sure, even if you're like, Keisha, ain't nothing popping right now, we're good. Is it? Because the only way you know it's good is if the right people tell you, no, you good, you straight, right? And so this is where literally, this is our strategy, folks. For those of you who are like, Keisha, I'm beyond the paid legal consultation. I'm ready to hire someone who I can have on retainer, someone who will be my outside legal counsel. We got you. That ain't a problem, right? Either of these gentlemen, they got you. For those who are just starting out and really wrapping their heads around having an attorney and figuring out honestly how you're going to pay for one, the paid legal consultation is your entryway. It is your entryway. And it is not priced out for anyone, because I know all of the bougie people out here who brunch on Saturday and Sunday and do bottomless mimosas, right? Y'all can afford a paid legal consultation. Come on.
They do it while their house is in foreclosure, Keisha. And they don't hire anybody to help.
we gotta get out of the shadows. Stop suffering in silence. Right? We haven't even, look, y'all, I know we almost at time. We haven't even talked about, which we're gonna have to bring this back. We haven't even talked about on the employment side, having a business lawyer who can help you through your employment contract, negotiating a severance package, right? Or your promotion. Come on, we out here trying to make sure that we are completely covered, y'all. There's no reason anymore. Justice Connection is here. We are here to serve, right? There is no reason anymore for us to feel like we have to go at this alone, or that we're flying by the seat of our pants. We have amazing talent in our community. And Sean and Carrie are two of the baddest brothers we got. All right. And we got a whole cachet more. And I want to thank both of you for spending this time this evening. Your time, your talent, really being able to bless all of us with your legal acumen, your professionalism. I'm sure that you will be hearing from some folks. And if you're like, Keisha, this was a lot, I don't even remember, keep in touch with Justice Connection. All right, keep in touch with us because we're constantly putting new things out. We'll be connecting. Carrie, you'll be able to find Sean is going to be on an SBA panel, the US SBA. We're hosting a panel with them June 8th. And you'll be able to find Carrie. We're also doing some things with the Association of Corporate Counsel. So those of you who are looking for in-house counsel, you'll be able to see Carrie there. There's so many different ways. We come to churches and organizations, your chamber. Come on, people. We're doing things differently now. We're doing things different. So let's talk. We're coming out of the shadows. We're going to figure this thing out together, right? Together. And if you're an attorney and you're like, I do it too, Keisha, then come on through, right? Let's talk, you and me, and figure out whether we're a good fit to connect and whether you should be a part of the network. We're in Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Georgia, Florida, and growing also to Illinois. So I know some of you are like, but what about I'm in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Texas, and North Carolina? I got you. My West Coast people, I got you. We're building step by step, right? So let us know where we should go next. Because we want to know, we want to hear. Let me stop because I'm about to go off on my thing. Sean, Carrie, thank you very much. I'm gonna let y'all go because it's late. Y'all done worked a full day and now a full night. You're amazing, and I just appreciate both of you.
Thank you, Keisha,
so much.
Yeah. And I want to also thank our partners in this, right? We had some amazing partners who work with us. Justice Connection, we're not trying to do nothing by ourselves. Okay, we're not trying to do anything by ourselves. Ooh, I see that, Henry. Thank you very much. We're going at this together, right? We are going at this together. And so if you're, we had the National Black MBA Association as partners this evening, and we thank you. We had Black Men Network as partners this evening, and we thank you. And we had Sister Biz. Hello, everyone out there. We had Sister Biz with us as well. So we thank all of our partners for supporting and being a part of this evening. And you know me. Who else do oh my gosh, I have to thank my amazing digital marketing specialist, Michelle. Thank you so much. You are thebomb.com. And I'm going to pull up, because I like to dance out. So we're going to do a little, we're going to do a little J since we started with J. Although we should be doing Cardi, because Cardi, bless y'all. I don't know if you didn't see it, but like, Cardi did an amazing video with Cardi. We might have to pin that to our Instagram. So right now, if you missed the Cardi video that we opened with, it's a must see. It is a must see, and I want you to share it. I want you to forward it. You can see it on our Facebook and our Instagram, because Cardi was telling the truth. Okay, she was telling the truth, y'all, about we're gonna pin that thing so you can see it. You can see it coming up. But come on, y'all, we're gonna do this. All right. I appreciate everyone for coming out tonight and supporting Justice Connection and being a part of growing and our development. We could not do this without you. We do this for you, right? Our mission is really to educate and empower the community in the law so that we can be more proactive in the law. And if you're a Black attorney, this is the place to be. This is the place to be, right? So I'm gonna go out to a little J, and I got my girl Mary on this one. Can't knock the hustle, because me and Mary, we like this. Okay? We like this. If you out there and you're like, what does Keisha really like? Mary J. Blige, we like this. And cupcakes. You're welcome. Thank you so much for those who commented. If you have further questions, you're like, Keisha, I didn't put my comment on the interwebs, but I do have it. Hit us up, right? Hit us up in the DMs. Go to the website, right? And there you can find, let me put up the website so that you can see. Go to the website. That's the easiest, fastest way to connect with an attorney. Go to our Connect with an Attorney link, fill out a couple of things, get this process started. For the budget, put unsure. You don't got to commit up front, put unsure, but be prepared to know going in that you're looking for a paid consultation, right? And that way you talk to a couple of attorneys. You don't got to marry the first one you talk to. Speak to a couple of attorneys. See what they're about, see what their pricings are, see how the vibe is, see what their hours of availability. We're actually, and I'm gonna tell y'all this, because we family, in August, we are running a special paid consultation. I know Michelle's like, wait, Keisha, we doing it because we are committed. We want folks to take the questioning out of this and move forward in getting those hard questions answered, because we about our business in 2023, right? Aren't we? We about our business in 2023, right? Don't knock your hustle. Grow your hustle, y'all. Come on. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for staying. And we'll see you next time. Third Thursday of every month. Next month, we'll be doing criminal law. Ooh. It's going to be for real. We'll see you next month. Me, slick like a gato, fucking Jay-Z. My pops knew exactly what he did when he. Y'all don't want me to stand up and dance. I'm gonna see y'all later.